All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to tackle one of philosophy's most influential and, let's be honest, kind of mind-bending phrases. It comes from the French existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre, and it's an idea that once you really get it, might just change how you look at, well, everything.
Okay, here it is. Existence precedes essence. Looks pretty simple, right? Just 3 words, but packed into this little phrase is a complete reversal of how philosophers thought for centuries. Think of it like a puzzle we're about to piece together.
So what are we really talking about here? What does this phrase actually mean for you and me? We're going to spend the next few minutes breaking it down, because hiding inside is a truly powerful idea about what it means to be human and to be radically free. To really get Sartre's big idea, we've got to get a handle on our 2 key terms, existence and essence. We need to know what they are, and more importantly, why the order he puts them in matters so much.
You see, this is where Sartre just completely flips the table on centuries of tradition. For thinkers all the way back to Plato, the idea of a thing, its blueprint, its essence, always came first. But Sartre says, nope, not for humans. He argues we show up first, we exist, and then we get to work creating our own essence.
So, what's existence? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just the fact that you are. You're here, in the world, living your messy, unpredictable, day-to-day life. It's like being a kid. You're just kind of thrown into the game and have to start figuring out the rules as you go. The experience is what comes first.
In essence, that's the meaning, the purpose, the whatness of a thing. For Sartre, our essence isn't something we're born with. It's not some pre-installed software package. It's more like the instruction manual that you have to write for yourself, piece by piece, through every single choice you make.
Okay, so if we're not born with a predefined essence, if there's no blueprint for what a human is supposed to be, what does that actually imply? This is where Sartre's idea gets really radical.
Sartre says that if you really want to understand the human experience, you have to start from an atheistic position. Now, he's not just trying to pick a fight about religion. His point is, if you believe a God created human nature, well, you've just created a blueprint, an essence that comes before our existence. And the same goes for saying we're just products of science or society. So, if there's no pre-written script, not from God, not from science, not from society, then there's no master puppeteer, right? Nobody's pulling our strings, forcing us to dance a certain way. We're on our own.
And that, of course, leads to the big question. If we aren't just puppets following a script, then what in the world are we? If nobody else is in control, then who is?
The absence of that puppeteer means we are, in Sartre's famous words, radically free. And with that freedom comes a pretty staggering, almost terrifying amount of responsibility.
Now, when Sartre says radical, he's not talking about it in a, that's totally rad, dude kind of way. He's actually going back to the original Latin word, radix, which means root. For Sartre, freedom isn't just something we have. It is the very root, the absolute core of our being.
And here's the catch. For Sartre, freedom and responsibility are 2 sides of the exact same coin. You simply can't have one without the other. If you are truly, radically free, then you are completely responsible for every choice you make. And through those choices, you are literally creating who you are. You are building your own essence.
Okay, I can hear you now. You might be thinking, hold on a second. How can I be totally free? I didn't choose my parents, or my body, or the country I was born in. And that's a fantastic point. Sartre has a really interesting answer for that.
He comes up with this key concept he calls facticity. A bit of a clunky word, I know, but the idea is simple. It's all the unchangeable facts of your existence, the givens of your life, the deck of cards you've been dealt, whether you like it or not. These are the raw materials of your life, right? You didn't pick them. They are, in a way, what's been done to you. You exist in a particular body, in a particular time, with a particular background. That's your facticity. And this right here, this is maybe the most important sentence in all of Sartre's philosophy. Your facticity doesn't cancel out your freedom. No way. It's the stage where your freedom gets to play out. The crucial part isn't the facts themselves, it's what you choose to do with them. Sartre loves this simple example. Imagine a giant boulder is blocking your path. The boulder is just a rock. That's the given, the facticity, but you are free to decide what it means. Is it a frustrating obstacle that makes you a victim? Or is it maybe a challenge to climb over, a nice place to sit and rest? Your choice and the action you take define what that boulder actually is in your reality.
And this isn't just a philosophical thought experiment. This idea holds true even in the most horrific situations imaginable. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, observed that the one single thing that can never be taken from a person was their freedom to choose their own attitude. Even when every other choice is gone, you are still free to decide what your experience means to you.
So what's the big takeaway here? Where does all this lead? It leads to a pretty provocative, maybe even unsettling, but ultimately an incredibly empowering way of looking at the world.
Now, this is probably Sartre's most shocking quote. It sounds brutal, right? Especially coming from someone who lived through the Nazi occupation of France. But his point isn't to blame people for their suffering, not at all. His point is that to just accept the role of a passive victim is also a choice of attitude.
You see, by choosing your response, by choosing defiance or resilience or even rage, you're ripping up the victim script. You might still be hurt, you might still be suffering, but you are no longer just a victim. You've defined yourself as something else entirely, a resistor, a survivor, a warrior.
And that is the ultimate question that Sartre leaves us with. It forces us to look at this whole idea head-on. We are born without a predefined purpose. We are radically free to create our own. And that freedom comes with total responsibility for who we become. It puts all the power and all the weight squarely in our hands. So the question is, what are you choosing to be?